Welcome, everyone, to Transforming with Tarot. I thought the Sunday before a full moon in Gemini was the perfect time to relaunch this show. Yesterday, I was at Spirit Quest reading at a psychic fair, and it felt so good and warm to read again. So thank you to all of those who came out to see me. I really enjoyed you opening your hearts and letting me peek inside and just kind of read the energy that was there. And yeah, I thought that I'd use the momentum of that psychic fair to just start reading tarot for the collective again. I really enjoy doing this. I really love being an intuitive reader and having this gift, and I just want to do it forever. So welcome to Transforming with Tarot. Let's see where we go here. I am going to start with some oracle cards from the Magdalene Oracle. So Mary Magdalene. We're just going to see what she says today. So let's pull three. Let's start with three. Taking a deep breath in, just getting oriented with this beautiful tarot deck. And a couple announcements. Towards the beginning of the year, I am working towards a couple of things that I'm going to offer. One is the Ascension Agency. It's an all-inclusive course bundle and community that kind of helps you break the matrix and step into your sovereignty, your spiritual sovereignty as creator being. And so it's going to include all marketing courses that I've already kind of developed, and as well as spiritual wisdom. And so I'm working on courses, currently recording them and editing them, about meditation, tarot, spiritual protection, energy healing, astrology, and so much more. And so if you'd like to stay in tune to that, please join my email list by going to transformingwithtarot.com. And you'll be prompted eventually on the homepage with either some free resources that you can download, and then you'll be put on the list, or just with the email list in general. So tune into that and stay tuned for that. Tune in, stay tuned, tune. And then the second thing is I've been working, and I took the last year to study the energetic body and just kind of what happens with that in the etheric realm. And I fell into this beautiful modality of hypnosis, and it specializes in entity release and quantum healing. And so with that, it takes you through, of course, that energetic release, the energetic rebuild, where I with my team of angels, we rebuild your chakra system. The past life regression, where we can heal any past lives or look into our past lives, or our parallel lives rather, and kind of see where our energetic blocks lie from there. Because of course, past lives, we are learning more and more every day, can inform today, our reality today, and our fears, our karmas, all of that, the patterns that we are stuck in. And also higher self healing and interviews. So at the end of all of that, we kind of tune into your higher self. We call them forward and we ask them a set of questions that you want to know about. Like I asked, for example, my higher self, I've asked them like why I'm bald in this life, how can I feel certain relationships, all of those types of things. And so if you're interested in that, I will be done with my certification by the end of December. I'm looking to launch that the first of the year. So sign up for those emails. And if not, then tune in here because I will be talking about it more and more. Okay, let's see what you got, Mary. Saint and Sinner. Interesting. The Prophet and Past Lives. Seen that card a lot today, or just recently. So I think that with these three cards, I could get into the book, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to kind of bring a message through. And a lot of times, it's interesting that Saint and Sinner and the Prophet are kind of next to each other. But I think that Saint and Sinner really points to duality. I was listening to this channeling the other day from Cry On by Lee Carroll, and he was talking about the metaphor of Adam and Eve and how God gave us free will and a choice. And when we chose, of course, the the indoctrinated version of the story says we were punished, but I really don't think so. We just had consequences. We had reactions to those decisions. And so I think that what we have to start doing is we have to start knowing that we can, once we've chosen something, we can change our minds. So, we might look at our life and think that it's full of darkness and it's full of darkness. It's full of, I don't want to say evil. What is the word that I'm looking for? And it's not sin either. It's just that it's been hard. There's been a lot of hardships in our life. But at any point, when we look into healing, when we look into light work and even a state of enlightenment, we know that those dark things inform the bright side and the happy times in our life. And they also help us become the person that we are today. So if you're proud of the person that you are today, then it's because of those darker times. And so the dark informs the light, all of that good duality stuff. The prophet, when I think of this, of course, it's Mary Magdalene's next, so I automatically associate Jesus with her. But the prophet is interesting. So we often think that the great prophets of the ancient times are the only prophets. But prophet, in my opinion, is actually a personality type. And when we deliver messages from a higher conscious, we are acting as prophets. And so I think when we deduce ourselves to saint and sinner and we separate ourselves from God, that's really when life becomes hard. We're not separate from God. We're literally apertures of the divine kind of experiencing itself here. And so when we start owning our divinity, prophets don't seem that different from ourselves, if that makes sense. So there's this message here that you have been far more than you know. And what I mean by that is we have this past lives card here at the end. And it's like, we think in this 3D perspective of, oh, I'm just a sinner, could never be a saint. But you've probably been a saint in a past life. So it's like this reality is so much bigger than we know, than we can even fathom as humans. And since we are conscious beings, we do hold a piece of God in us because God is consciousness, right? And so I really feel like this message is just kind of this prophecy of divinity, of this reminder, this like gentle nudge, pat on the back of there's more to this than you know. And start tuning into yourself, start tuning into your divinity again. Because it's time to know it. It's time to put down this narrative. If I were going to go past, present, future, it's time to put down this narrative of, oh, I'm just a human. You're not a human. You're a divine being with powers that you don't even recognize and lives that you don't even know. So give yourself a break. Start healing that darkness, that 3D paradigm of black and white duality, and start stepping into these messages that only you can bring through, because all of us are channels to higher guidance, and we need that in the world today. So let's see what the tarot has to bring through for the collective, Bringing messages through for the collective. Let's see here. All right, 10 cards. 2 more shuffles. Here's 1 and 2. Interesting shuffle. They're up to something here. I'm seeing this 9 of Wands a lot lately. All right. So for a lot of you, I see on the shadow card right here at the bottom of the deck, I feel a lot of you, that's the Emperor, and Emperor is the card of Aries. And Aries is all about the divine masculine. The Emperor and Aries is about the divine masculine. It's about action, getting out there, going, directing, all of that stuff, like action for the sake of action, basically. And we can get a little hot-headed with Aries energy because sometimes you need to sit back and think. So I feel like with some of us, one of two things. One, this could be you. You have been reacting to everything that's coming into your life, and it's time to sit back and actually be more mindful of our decision making. And two, a lot of us have been kind of like waiting in the rafters for the right time, and we need to realize that the right time is never coming. We need to start taking divinely guided action or inspired action. And so that's kind of what we need to look out for in this next moon phase, I would say. I think a lot of us right now are learning boundaries, and we've come to this breaking point of, and it's with friends, family. Of course, Thanksgiving was just last week, and so I think we kind of, this is fresh in our minds, maybe going back home and having a lot of uncomfortable debates with family members that we don't necessarily see eye to eye with. And I think that let's see. I think that a lot of us see boundaries as kind of in scarcity. We see like, I'm either going to be able to have a relationship with, this is just an example, with my dad, or I'm either going to have a relationship with my dad, but with all of this inappropriate and like heavy, burdensome collateral, I guess, that it comes with, or I'm not going to. It's like this very two extremes, right? And I feel like that's not what the universe wants you to do. I think the universe is actually asking you to tune into what needs to be healed, because all of our triggers are just opportunities for mastery, right? So when we're triggered, we need to take note of that. And we need to be like, okay, this is something that I need to heal because it's obviously still bothering me. And so I think that being a little bit more mindful, being a little bit more receptive to other people's opinions, being a little bit more expansive, understanding that we've all had different experiences, and that comes to different conclusions. And you could be the same, you could come from the same cloth, be raised the same way, and you're still a different petri dish than the next person. So you're going to have different reactions, different chemical reactions there to different things. And so being happy in this, being joyous in this, I think, let's see, I'm going to just tune into this card, ask for some clarity with the sun, please. Please talk about the sun a little bit more, what you want me to know about that. So we're coming from this paradigm of scarcity, of either or. It's either going to be the relationship or no relationship, instead of how about a relationship where we just accept that person and be okay with their beliefs, and it doesn't matter. Like just more adaptive, more versatile, more flow. You know, if you start studying Eastern philosophies and the Tao Te Ching, you know that water is what we should strive to be like, because you can put a boulder in the middle of a river and the water's going to flow around. And so when we act like water and just kind of go with the flow, that's when things start happening. Okay, so the sun. Let's one last couple here. Yeah. I do think I think it's no accident that I'm talking about families here and this message. I think that what we need to start taking charge of our happiness and stop being so, and understand that our happiness comes from within. There's that old parable, right, where the monk is in a boat and he blindfolds himself to have a quiet meditation. And he goes out and he rows out into the middle of the lake. He blindfolds himself and he starts to meditate. And all of a sudden, he's really deep into like this trance meditation, and this boat bumps him, and he gets so enraged, and he opens up his blindfold, or he lifts off his blindfold, and he realizes that the boat just hit up against the shore. So here he is already reacting to somebody coming and bumping him when really, I don't know if I've talked about this parable before, but when really it was just the boat drifting to shore. And so this was an enlightening moment because he realized that anger comes from within. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I know this was a quote from someone else, but I just remember Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say this story of the orange. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Why? Because that's what's inside. And so when you get squeezed, when there's pressure, when there's tension, what comes out? Well, that's what's inside. That's what we need to heal. And so taking accountability for our happiness, kind of like you got the whole world in your hands, and the sun, which is like literally the symbol of happiness in the tarot. And then this is kind of like this divine guidance. So understanding that this is kind of the key to the physical realm, and starting this rebirth. So a lot of us are going to be waking up spiritually in the next few months. And that's kind of exciting because, there are these big portals that open. We have no idea how much it affects us, astrology and all that stuff. We have no idea how much it affects us, but there are some pretty big portals coming. And that is when we, the water in our bodies conducts that electricity. We get these huge magnetisms from the sun via solar winds, and we can see those in the northern lights. And so, it's just like light. When light goes through a leaf, all of the spectrum of that light is absorbed except for green, and then green is expressed. So the leaves make the color like green. It makes green light. And so that's exactly how it works with us too. If all of these energies are coming from the sun, and Mars is in retrograde, and it's kind of magnetizing against Earth, and Mars represents war and anger, and that energy is bouncing off of the sun and then coming back through the solar winds. That information is coming back through the solar winds to Earth. Then the water in our bodies is conducting that, and just like that leaf on the tree, what is expressed when that is what is being diffused? Anger. So like that's kind of how it works. So with the spiritual, that's how astrology works. So with these spiritual awakenings, for some of you, I feel like you're already kind of getting knocks at the door, just kind of seeing how much bigger it is, and kind of realizing your place in all of this, and understanding that everything that has happened to you, you volunteered for before you came here. Yep, that's right. You picked this life, and you picked everything that happened to you. So I hate to tell you, but yeah. So understanding that, and understanding that your thoughts inform your reality. So these are the spiritual lessons, and also that you're never alone, that there are guides and guardians surrounding you at all times. And so I see this huge transformation with judgment and death here. And also you kind of balancing these dimensions, balancing the 3D, balancing the 5D, understanding what that looks like, understanding how that shift is, and being a little bit overwhelmed. So this could be where you're headed. I do kind of see this in the future timeline. And so if you do find yourself overwhelmed by anything, let me just kind of, please clarify the 7 of Cups. Yeah. So this new paradigm that you're coming into, that you have a body. You aren't a body. You aren't a person having spiritual experiences. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, which is a very cliche, old, overused statement, but it's the truth. So you're a little bit overwhelmed at this closing because your reality is shifting. And so I just want to call out, and shameless plug here, but if you're somebody who is going through a spiritual awakening and you think you're manic, you think you're crazy, you are just overwhelmed by all of it, reach out. Please reach out. I was there in 2017. I spent a few years after that thinking I was crazy. And then a few years later, I had to go through a huge, another awakening, well, actually last year, to just kind of realize that I wasn't crazy, that all the things that I thought were happening, because because I had to go through it again. And during a time in my life when I knew there was no way I was crazy. So I've been through a lot with spiritual awakenings, and I just want to let anyone know who this is resonating with. Reach out if you need to, okay? I'm here for you. All right, and so I like to end all of my readings with a deck called Postcards from Spirit. It's a beautiful deck, and it just kind of summarizes what I'm talking about. So let's ask for a summary, please. All the angels and guides who are listening to this or here with me now, please summarize this reading. 2 more shuffles, guys. Bring it to the top, filling up the top. And final shuffle. All right, here we go. It says, "Dearest you, we are sending you waves of love and joy as we watch you reap the rewards of your tenacity and faith. We know how long it has taken for you to reach some of your goals and that you've had disappointments along the way. Right now, we suggest you take a deep breath and fill yourself up with gratitude and tune into the vibration of well-being. Temporary conditions may be trying to hypnotize you into seeing something else as your reality, but we know that happy rewards are on their way to you even now. Change is the only constant, so be open to it. You will achieve your dreams and more, we promise. But more importantly, your happy rewards will be gathered up in the small moments, the gentle breezes, the soft kisses, and the quiet commitments. Your happiest moments will be on the journey itself, not in arriving at any destination. You are surrounded by so much love and care. Can you feel it?" All right. So that's kind of Transforming with Tarot this week. I will be back next week, hopefully. And I love you guys so much. You have no idea. I'm so happy to be doing this again. I'm so happy to be reading tarot for you again. And if you want to book a reading with me, you can also go to transformingwithtarot.com. I have 30-minute, 45-minute, and hour slots available, and I'd love to hear from you. So until next week, ta-ta for now, and I love you. Have a good week.